Welcome, listeners, to Thrice, a horror movie podcast brought to you by Sinister Siblings, where we review a horror movie not once, not twice, but thrice, to see what comes from repeat viewings and share our thoughts with you, dear listener. My name's Adam. Joining me as always are my delightful co-host, brother-in-law Mark.
Hello.
And wife Tracy.
Hello.
And this episode, we're slipping on our oversized squeaky clown shoes and we're bitching about the youth of today because we're talking about Clown in a Cornfield.
You probably killed a lot of people's eardrums with that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. You don't want to know what I paid for that.
No.
Otherwise known as Parents of the Corn.
Yeah, pretty much.
If this is your first time to Thrice or you're coming back again, either way, I'm going to tell you the same thing, which is the way the podcast is structured is on our first viewing, we base our review on our own personal thoughts plus impressions from the trailer, that kind of thing. Second time round will be with the knowledge that we've gained plus the discussions that we've had amongst ourselves. Third time round will then be with external input, whether that be from people involved in the making of the film, from reviews that we've read, or from you guys out in listener land. I'll throw over to Tracy now to give us some specifics about today's film.
Yes. So, spoilers as well?
Yes, I keep forgetting to tell you that. Be aware, spoilers are plenty.
Yes.
First things first, there's clown and there's corn.
Yep.
But there will be more spoilers than that.
Yes. So today, the movie we're looking at in this edition is Clown in a Cornfield. It was released on the 8th of May 2025 in Australia. It is all about a clown in a cornfield, and that's the end. No, it's much more than that. In a fading Midwestern town, the local legend of Friendo the Clown becomes all too real as teenagers start to go missing one by one before meeting spectacularly sticky ends. With chills, memorable set pieces, and messy mayhem aplenty, Clown in a Cornfield will be sure to electrify both young horror audiences and fans of the classic slasher movies. It's based on a best-selling book and from the producers of Smile. It's a terrifyingly enjoyable and thrilling old-school horror for a new generation. It's directed by Eli Craig, and it has a relatively short runtime of 96 minutes.
We'll get to that.
Oh, we will.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
Too short, I think, this movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Said very few people generally.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
All right, well, kick us off. You've got some strong thoughts, Adam. Tell us what you think.
I was ready to hate this movie. I thought I was going to hate it. I kind of wanted to hate it, but I didn't hate it.
Did you think it was going to be in a snakes on a plane type of category of we're just going to tell you what it is?
No, I thought it was going to be really like kind of mean-spirited and gory and kind of vapid, but it wasn't. It was kind of playful and engaging and kind of funny, which was a smart move because it's a clown. Clowns aren't scary. I like clowns.
I think a lot of people disagree with you.
But they're not scary. Yeah.
Like lots of people. Not me, but lots of people.
Well, there's nothing less scary to me than like a horror clown, like a sharp-toothed, evil-looking clown. It's just kind of derpy.
Mm-hmm.
But,
okay.
yeah. But
That's such a controversial call. I'm pretty sure Stephen King made $1 million off scary clowns.
Yeah,
well, but that's about so much more though. That's like about the clowns, like, well, in the book at least, Pennywise takes on many forms, you know?
Yeah. But is this movie Clown in a Cornfield really about the clown in the cornfield, or does it
No.
actually yes.
It's not.
Exactamundo.
What are you going to tell us, Trace?
It is much broader than just a clown in a cornfield. It is it's an indictment on an entire generation.
That's right.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it would have been if it earned any of its story beats. But continue.
I feel like he's done a heck of a lot of like highbrow research into this.
I don't know how highbrow it is. He bought a squeaky horn.
Well, that's true. That's true. But Okay, if we're talking about how I felt about this film, I too was very apprehensive about this film. I thought, much like Adam, which is potentially why we are actually married, I thought it was going to be kind of a bit cold and a bit vapid and a bit nasty. And it just wasn't. The characters were really engaging and likable, even sort of, the traditional stereotypes, you've got the really bitchy girl, you've got the jock. Even they were likable. I didn't mind them at all. And I thought it was kind of quite sweet, the friendship between everybody, and I liked the pacing of the film. It centers around a young girl, I think Quinn is her name, and her dad who's going to be the new town doctor. They've moved to town after a tragedy. Her mum's passed away. And they were a great little dynamic, and their relationship was great to sort of watch unfold. And then even the way it started, it had me really the way it started, because I'm sure you guys might have picked it up, but the opening scene, which is set back in 1991.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Yes, and I loved it, but I was like, 1991. I'm like, this film's going to be great, until I realised we were talking about old people from 1991. But girl runs off into the cornfield, sort of beckoning to a guy over her shoulder to come follow her. And she starts stripping off her clothes. He's got a beer bottle in hand. He's stumbling, can't quite make it into the cornfield. She meets a grisly demise. It was beat by beat, the opening to Jaws.
Yeah, it was Jaws, wasn't it? So where are we going? I wanted to rib you in the cinema and be like, swimming! But it was not.
Oh my God. I loved that. Yeah. I don't know where that came from or why, but I loved that.
Because you're obsessed with Jaws.
Well, that's true. Yeah. That is true. I am obsessed with Jaws. But I really liked it. And it had those bigger themes about older generations. And it's probably the first time I've been in a film where I was like very much of the older generation, that we were the old people they kept referring to.
You felt attacked?
I didn't really feel attacked. I just felt wounded. But I was just like, oh my God, you serious? Okay, alrighty. And that was really, and also, of course, as we move forward through the film, the old people are clowns, which I thought was also a bit of a slight. Bit of a slight. But anyway, Mark, what about you? Initial impressions?
I had a lot of fun with it. I had a lot of fun with it. It had enough, what's the word I want to look for? Calling cards, I guess, or tropes of your classic slasher films. Right down to the crazy old guy in the jail telling the kids, don't fuck with friendo.
Yeah.
Like the crazy Ralph of days gone by, just telling kids to watch themselves.
Yep.
The thing that smacked me right between the eyes was obviously the political referencing, the clash of why can't things be like they used to be? Why has everyone got to change? And in some of the pre-release hype, there was an interesting quote I pulled from the director Eli Craig, who Adam may or may not know directed Tucker and Dale versus Evil,
which I quite enjoyed.
Yes, and also his mum is Sally Field.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit of trivia. Nonetheless, yes,
not without my daughter.
So he said, in regards, I guess, to the theme of this movie, the theme is integral to what America is going through. Takes place in small-town America that's experiencing economic hardship. These divisions between the generations are so apparent in the small town where the Gen Z characters really want to push for a more forward-thinking, more progressive society, whereas the older folk in town want to clamp down and keep things the same. And this really comes to a head and collides in a very, very destructive and bloody way. And it's not that different from what's happening at large in the world, and especially, obviously, America. Clown is in a cornfield. Cornfields are American crop. And clowns, well, I feel like we're getting really familiar with them in America. So it's all out there. So you can probably see which side of the fence the director's on. And Katie Douglas, who played Quinn, there was a little quote I found from her saying it definitely takes on the theme of a generational divide. The kids are literally isolated from the world around them. So they, in their own ways, act out, which I think is a really relatable thing. So, and that's very much that element of old versus new. And I guess I suppose almost holding on to something when it's hopeless. Like there was
the old way.
But the friendo world is all faded and rusted and It's not like Friendo's pumping it out. Like, they're clinging to what was.
Mm. Yeah, because that factory has burnt down,
Mm.
and that's what Quinn's new group of friends have been accused of doing.
Yeah.
So they're very much the bad kids, even though they're all like pretty,
Just
pretty
regular
good
kids,
really. They're all making cute videos together of Friendo. Like they are always trying to scare each other and do these videos where they're being scared by Friendo, which provides kind of a cool little sort of mechanic really of integrating Friendo, the real Friendo, into the situation. So I think there is that element of the old faded Friendo and all of those things in there. But I also found that kind of interesting in the fact that throughout the film, obviously with the generations, they talk about pretty much, I think it was every 30 years, which I thought was a really huge span of time for a generation, that something occurred. Like the last one was in 1991, where Frendo's obviously gone a little bit hey. And then prior to that, I think it was like 1960, there was a bit of a flashback.
Yeah.
But what occurred to me, though, was that why did nobody talk about this, obviously, massacre that happened back in 1991? Because they have this thing in town called Founders Day. So one of the kids in the sort of like the video kid camp, I'm going to call them, the AV kids, his dad is like the town mayor. And every year they are an old school family in the town. Every year there's Founders Day.
Old money.
Big parade. And as part of that, the kids, all of the kids, have this big old party at this barn, an isolated barn, where the kid of the old money pays for everything, right? So they have these big old parties. Been doing it every single year for years and years and years. So in 1991, when shit went down, wouldn't that put you off having a party at this place? I sort of thought it's a bit strange that nobody's referenced that. People reference Friendo and Spooky Clown from, the factory. No one references, oh yeah, if you have a party here, you could cop it.
Well, I wanted to ask that. Like, so when skipping to the end, I guess, where the friend, love interest guy, what's his name? The oligarch guy?
Coal or Rust?
Cole. So Cole's dad is revealed as like the kind of arch mastermind behind these killings.
Chief Friendo.
Yeah, Chief Friendo.
Grand Poobah.
And is he like
ringleader?
So he is saying that they're keeping up tradition. These Friendo killings have happened before.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So and like you say, he talks about they had hobos in the 40s, and then it was the bloody annoying hippies in the 60s.
Yeah.
No good long hairs.
And then it was like the 90s, what a bunch of burnouts.
Yeah.
This whole thing doesn't stack up because he would have been one of those 90s burnouts. They all would have been at some point the younger generation, now gone older. So why would you feel that way?
I guess maybe if you're from an old family, and it's in your interest to have the tradition. And so
the other friendos would have experienced these massacres firsthand.
Yeah, I know. There was a bit of a hole in that as well, which I thought too was so basically, there's kind of quite a lot happening in this film, to be honest.
Probably more in the book, I think. This is why I'm looking forward to reading the book.
So that often does provide a lot more sort of detail and nuance, but lots and lots happening. And, so...
But dare I say, some rich American families are pretty good at covering up the past.
Well, true that. But what I did like about this film is, so initially, Friendo, people are getting killed by Friendo. They're getting picked off one by one. Traditional slasher. The kills, pretty gory, pretty cool, but also quite... fun and comedic, which I really kind of appreciated. Like, I really enjoyed this film.
It's enjoyable.
Yeah, I didn't sometimes you see kills, particularly in newer slasher films, and it's just a bit, bit stomach turning, really, and not much else. You're not like, Yeah, I wasn't particularly scared. That's just really
Yeah.
gross and...
It reminded me of a movie that was like, I don't know if kids do this these days, but back in the day, you had sleepovers with your friends and you might watch a few horror movies. So if you were 13 or 14, something like this is a good one for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If kids do that kind of thing these days.
Well, that's... Well, yes.
I think they have Discord parties and things. now.
Yeah, they're just
indeed.
like sort of scrolling TikTok.
But I thought it was interesting. So for a lot of the film, and I really enjoyed this part of it, you were wondering, well, who is Friendo? And I was looking because there was a lot of sort of subtext. There was obviously something going on with Rust. So there's a male character, Rust, who's a neighbour of Quinn's. He used to be involved with the friends with Cole. Now he's not. He's a bit of a, sort of country sort of...
A Hill William.
He's a red herring is what he is.
Yeah, but you don't know though. You're sort of like, okay, he's sort of lurking. Everyone says he's creepy. But then you've also got Cole, who I'm like, okay, well, he's funding these parties. He's got money. Is he up to something? And then I was also thinking of parallels between Stu and Billy in Scream. I'm like, are they working this together? Because they're making this big deal of, we're not friends anymore. Are they?
Okay.
Are they actually working together as a friendo in a Scream situation?
Oh.
And then I was also thinking, who else is in on this? Because some of the adults are giving pretty dodgy looks to people. So you're like, are they in on it? And so I was just sort of thinking, is even like Dad in on it? Like, what is going on here?
Well,
so I thought that was really, really good.
Yeah,
Well done.
So I went the other way. My first thought was that Rust was telling the truth. And he's like, you need to watch out for those kids.
Yeah.
And then the sheriff was like, you need to watch out for those kids.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, maybe they're the bad kids. Everyone's saying they're the bad kids. I was like, maybe in their
Exactly.
group, they're like, we want to get more clicks. We want to get more views. Maybe we'll do some stuff to try and get
so
that.
that's the thing. It just made you guess. It made you
okay.
sort of think, are they telling the truth or why are they saying that? It was really quite effective. You were just sort of going, what's going on here? Who is Friendo? What's going on? So I thought that was really, really well done.
So when Friendo turns up at the Founders Day parade party and gets shot, and then a stack of Friendos pour out of the cornfield, I was genuinely surprised.
Yeah, so was I.
I was genuinely like, well, I just wasn't a moment.
And
But the moment that happened, I thought it was all the adults in the town because they'd been crabbing on about the kids. There'd been several of them that were giving the kids stink eye through the movie.
Yeah, this is true. But I loved those Friendos because I loved there was one with a chainsaw. And I just thought there's something about the sound of a chainsaw in a country setting.
It's just a nightmare fuel thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre all over this. And he's like chasing them through the corn with it. I thought there was some moments of genuine menace.
That was one thing. You know, the scene where they're hiding in the corn.
Oh, yes.
And she's like covers her friend's mouth. She's like, shh. And then the friend next to her holds her mouth. She's like, shh. And then Frendo's hand comes around and grabs her. He's like, shh. I was like, come on. He's got those big old squeaky shoes on. He's not sneaking up on nobody.
That was funny, though.
Yeah.
And there was actually some really good points of humour. I put that one down. I thought that was really funny. I actually really liked the bit where her friend had copped it with the pitchfork and she pulls the pitchfork out to kill the friendo. She's like, I hate you, Quinn. And then the clown was like, I hate you too.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really fun.
And when they were tossing around one of the kids there, gets decapitated and the girls think it's completely fake. And so they're tossing around this decapitated head and you're like, oh my God, at some point this is going to land and they're going to realise what's happening.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh my God. It was,
And I really loved the point in the middle of everything going on when they suddenly twigged that Cole was gay and that's why he'd been rejecting everybody. And they all just went, oh.
Yeah.
Just thought that was really well done. I really liked that.
Yeah. No, and it was just great because then her dad, so Quinn's dad's the local doctor now, and he ends up treating one of the friendos who's been injured. And so you're starting to think, okay, how's Dad going to play into this movie? And I thought it had like a layer of just sort of like an action adventure, almost family film in a way. So Dad sort of joins up and teams up with the teenagers to kind of take over the friendos. And
if it was dialed down a little less gory, it could almost have been in line with something like The Goonies, couldn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like,
because he's not from the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you assume what happened to the last Doctor then was he wouldn't play ball, perhaps? Is that what happened to the
No,
last
I
Doctor?
don't
Don't
know.
know.
I don't know.
Was he also a not from here kind of guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I had the impression he'd passed away, but I might have just made that up.
Mm.
But either way, I would say it's definitely a town of tradition. It's a town where probably Friendo was a open secret amongst the adults.
It gave me a vibe, and go with me. It gave me a vibe of, remember the film Disturbing Behaviour?
Yes.
Where they were on the island and the parents were like chipping the kids or whatever to make them perfect students if they were wayward. I kind of got that vibe because it was very much the parents were all like, there's a way it needs to be and there's a way you need to act and this is how things have to be. And I really got that same feel that, suddenly we had a group of kids who were like, the parents are trying to get us. We need to run from the parents, which was very much what Katie Holmes and James Marsden and such were dealing with back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was definitely because it did make me think, okay, why have they targeted these kids in particular? Because they were at a party where there was like a million other children, well, not children, teenagers. And so a million other kids there. And I'm like, why just these? Why have you just got it in for these kids? So it obviously was the people they had deemed were non-compliant needed to kind of be eradicated and moved on.
Is that all? There wasn't any other real reason why it was targeting, even though it was his son.
Well, it feels like there was almost like we're having the Founders Day parade followed by a hunt of undesirables.
Yeah.
And so maybe it was simply like, we can't kill all the kids.
No.
So we'll because there was...
We need some to carry on the
because
tradition
there was the
in
bit
30
where,
years' time.
Where the pitchfork murder happened, I'm pretty sure Quinn went into there and there was pictures on the wall. There was like, the montage kind of thing, I think, of the kids they'd picked.
Oh.
Pretty sure that was on the wall. There was like a thing of kids that they'd picked.
Okay.
Which I suppose makes sense in that regard if they wanted to look at all of that. One thing I just wanted to point out, which I thought was very interesting, how old do you reckon the lead actress was?
Oh, golly. I don't know, maybe 20?
She turned 25 during the filming of this. So it was filmed sort of September, October 2023.
Okay.
She turned 25 during that.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy playing a high school kid?
Yeah, that's...
It's like the 60s movie.
And,
like Gidget and stuff.
And the guy who played Cole was 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another interesting little tidbit. So obviously, as Adam talked about, it's based off a book. So there's 3 books currently in the series, and I think the author is talking about a 4th. This was actually optioned to be a film before the book even got published.
Well, that's good.
So they obviously thought it was pretty good.
How can that? No.
It happened.
Yeah, obviously it happens.
Yeah, so look, just some quick numbers just while we're throwing things around. It opened in the US on 2,200 screens and made 3.7 mil in its first weekend. Budget was only meant to be no more than $1 million. So even if you added on another 500,000 or even $1 million for promotion, it's already an early winner. So that's looking pretty good. So I would expect to see news of a sequel, I reckon, between there being other books
I think so.
and being a budget kind of winner. I think we should see that. And even locally, wasn't a huge opening here in Australia. Opened on about 200 screens, but still pulled in about 200K.
Yeah.
So
I think it's definitely got scope for a sequel because when you think about it, she survives, obviously. Dad survives. The two, like Rust and Cole, both survive as well. They're all staying in town. She goes off to uni. I think that's where she was headed. But also, like, when she hops in the car. So generally at the beginning of each Friendo murder, before the Friendos were en masse and just killing in a cornfield, a little jack-in-the-box would appear before the person got murdered. And so when she's driving away in her car, she looks down and suddenly there's a little Friendo jack-in-the-box beside her. So she kind of, I think, I thought that was a bit of a tell that she suddenly just found this jack-in-the-box right beside her as she was leaving. So it could have just been a, souvenir.
Yeah,
but
she just threw it out the window, didn't she?
no, this stuff's collectible.
Yeah. But I thought that could also leave room for a sequel to saying the spirit of Friendo is still around.
Well, Friendo's been around for a long, long time.
Exactly.
So there's certainly no way they killed all the Friendos.
No. And there's also, I guess you could also open that possibility that maybe the spirit of Friendo exists, much like a Jason Voorhees type situation.
Well, so you're talking about Jason Voorhees here. Their official line is that it's in the vein of your classic slashers. You mentioned a slasher before. is this movie a slasher? Not really.
What would you deem it as?
Well, there's multiple killers. It's got a lot more going on than a typical slasher. It's not just a masked killer bumping off teens.
No.
It's a generation with a vendetta. So,
But I think maybe the method of execution falls into slash.
It probably started as a slasher. Like before you realise there was more than one friendo, it certainly had the hallmarks of this, you know, the masked killer, isolating teens, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Adam. You've had a prickle in your saddle the whole time on this one.
Yes.
Did the founding fathers have a point?
About what?
The current generation?
The youth of today.
But about holding to tradition.
This is my thing. No, they don't. They don't have a point because it's the province of every generation that grows old to complain and not understand the younger generation. It's nothing new. It's not different. Kids today are definitely annoying, but we were probably more annoying than, we were probably just as annoying to adults then as well, and so on, as they were to their parents.
So
and
it's
on we go.
Tradition.
Yeah, that's a tradition.
Yeah.
Well, I think the interesting thing is the kids they targeted as the bad kids.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, you could say were actually honouring the history of the town because they were making these viral clips involving Friendo, who was the local, was it Bay Corp, whatever the name was of the company.
It had a strange name.
But, you know, that was the thing for the town.
Yes.
And they were kind of celebrating their history. They weren't pretending it didn't exist.
Yeah.
And the kid actually says he's got big plans for the town. He's not planning on leaving.
Yeah.
He loved the town. You know, so yes.
So the founding fathers almost missed the point in that the kids may have been doing things differently, but it didn't mean they were disrespectful to the town.
Yeah, yeah. I guess, though, there were elements like in the Founders' Day parade, they're stuffing around trying to do a video and there's this huge sculpture which I thought was a great scene, huge sort of statue of Friendo, and they set in motion a train of events and Friendo falls over and takes out a whole swathe of the audience and they kind of end up in trouble, and that's where they meet the old man in the jail. So I think in that respect, like, that is kind of a bit disrespectful because that's...
Well, he was, like, on a unicycle and stuff doing silly things in the parade, wasn't he? Yeah.
And so I think, and the founding, you know, like the mayor of the town and stuff, he was, like, clutching his pearls, like, oh, my God.
Who's responsible?
Who did this? So I think in that way it could have been seen, even though they weren't trying to be disrespectful, it could have been seen. And also, you know...
Does that mean one generation's not listening to the other generation?
Maybe.
Because perhaps if they said, what is this all about, sort of thing.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there was definitely that divide where they weren't talking to each other properly.
Let me ask you a question, Tracy.
Oh, yes.
They made a point of saying that Quinn and her dad came to town for like a fresh start because their mum passed away and such. Did they make enough of that plot point? Was that a wasted plot point? Like, did we need a reason at all why they were there? But I also feel like, was there a flashback or something where mum had like OD'd or something?
They mentioned, well, when she's talking to Cole, I think she says that her mum OD'd. She talks it through. So there wasn't a flashback per se. She sort of I think she's telling Cole what happened. But I think...
Does that inform anything that Quinn does, though? Does that change her view or anything? Or?
I think it's basically, I don't know, because it sort of serves to have that distance between her and her dad where she does then go off and get immersed in...
Ah, so you think that's the trigger for the little micro-generational divide between dad and daughter?
Yeah. So, and throughout the film, they have to find their way sort of back to each other.
Ah, so you reckon that's a key part for why Dad then decides to run for mayor? Because he's like, I've been able to bring my daughter and myself as different generations together. Maybe I can heal the town a little bit.
I don't know.
Not to put words in your mouth, but
I don't know.
What do you think, Adam?
That'll be the sequel. Dad's corrupted by the
But
town.
I don't think
Well,
Dad's
that's the thing.
corrupted.
But if Dad becomes the mayor, he might have those battling pressures.
I know. That's the thing.
Quinn comes back on, spring vacation and discovers everything's crazy in Friendo land again.
Something like
maybe. It could be.
Would you buy a Friendo collector's figure, Adam?
No. That's what I mean. This movie doesn't have the chops for that. For like a slasher, Frendo's not going to become part of my cabinet.
You don't think it's iconic enough?
No.
Maybe the little Jack.
I don't think I don't even think it tries to be. I don't think that's the thing. I don't really think this movie is a slasher.
I'd be interested to know how much time or effort they put into the Friendo design, whether that was preconceived from the books and things, or whether they, just went, we just want a generic circus clown.
I like the design. I like clowns. Can I share with you a true scary clown story
Please.
from my childhood?
Mm-hmm.
When I was young, we went to El Cabello Blanco. Do you guys know what that is? No?
No?
So, Spanish horses is like I can't even remember what
dancing horses
showgrounds.
kind of thing?
That's right,
Horses.
showgrounds. There was a famous thing in the 80s. Yeah, Spanish horses, their riders doing talented sort of, is it triage?
It sounds like the title of your first album.
or whatever?
Spanish horses.
No, and it was called El Cabello Blanco. And in between
An evening
sets
with
or in intermission, they had various things, but they had clowns, like rodeo clowns. And one of them called me out onto the stage. And I can't remember the details of his performance, but he was like,
But he never called.
no, but he was pulling stuff out of my pockets. And he reached into my pocket and pulled out, he's like, is this your handkerchief? Is this your handkerchief? I was like, what? And he reached into my pockets and pulled out a whole big ream of handkerchiefs, this never-ending ream of handkerchiefs out of my
So
pocket.
his hands were busy.
And then he was like, what? And then he reached in and was pulled out some underpants. He pulled out my underpants through my pockets kind of thing. And
Hilarious.
I just didn't like it. Scary. And I was I was a little kid and I was like, this is not because it was a clown, it's just as a grown up that was.
But it hasn't left a lasting mark on you, though. You said
No.
you're not afraid of clowns.
I'm not afraid of clowns.
Movie clowns, he said.
Yeah.
Real life clowns.
Yeah.
Touchy clowns.
Touchy
Easy
clowns going
hands.
into my pockets. My parents are fine with it. A whole audience of people completely fine with it. It was the 80s.
All right. So, Trace, what are you going to look for next time round?
Oh my goodness. I think next time round, golly, I feel like there is a lot to this film and there's a lot of different sort of, I guess, stories within it. Maybe the generational divide stuff I'll have a little bit more of a look at because it was just such an enjoyable ride. I'm sort of looking forward to seeing it again. I won't, it's not one of those sort of films where you're like, oh, I'm not sure about this. I think it'll be, quite happy to watch it again. So probably just looking more into the generational divide. And because I just sort of was like, I'd like to get my thoughts a bit clearer around that because I think there was a lot of messaging in there, some of which I took to heart a little bit. But that's probably what I'll be looking at. But in terms of ratings, what are we going to rate this one as? Are we Friendo clowns, Jack in the Boxes?
Jack in the Boxes. Corn cobs.
Corn cobs? Well, that's very nice. Blood-stained corn cobs. I would probably give this, I'm going to start with a 7 out of 10 blood-stained corn cobs. Adam, what will you be looking for next time and how many corn cobs, blood-stained or not, will you be giving this movie?
Yeah, probably similar to you. I'm going to try to pay more attention to the head friendo's big monologue about what they're doing and why and what's transpired before. Knowing now that that's kind of the bent that it takes, that's like a big reveal when you watch it the first time. So, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if it necessarily, because I'll be looking for that to pay more attention to that and see if it's sort of what changes there. I don't know. We've been pretty kind to this movie.
Yeah.
I think. And I feel like it's the definition of a popcorn movie. I guess when I watched it, I was feeling generous, but I was happy to be just sort of blandly entertained. And that's all kind of really that I think it is, just blandly entertaining. I don't really think it earns any of its character development. That's probably a side effect of its runtime. It's kind of good that it gets in and out, but it also hurts it as well. It sets up these kind of tropes but you don't really know anything about them. You just sort of take them on board because you're familiar with them. But I'll give it 6 corn cobs.
Okay. Mark?
Look, my ratings always, I guess, start off on the basis of would I watch it again? And, would I watch it again probably gets you at a 6, So would I watch it again? Yeah, absolutely. I think probably similar to what everyone's saying. It is that sleepover movie. It's one of those ones, it's a little bit like a Mills and Boon romance novel, I guess. You sort of know where it's probably mainly going to go, so you don't necessarily need to be hyper-focused. It's not like some of the other films we've done where, so far anyway, it doesn't seem to be the one where there's going to be just one line that you hear that explains or unlocks anything. But yeah, I'm probably a bit more upbeat than Adam. I quite liked the world that they've created for Friendo, and I would probably give it 7 corn cobs.
Yes. Okay, well, the next time that we're going to be viewing this is when it comes out onto streaming. So at the moment, it is still showing at cinemas.
Yes.
And so when it comes out onto streaming, we will let you know on our socials. So on our Facebook, Sinister Siblings, we'll let you know where it's showing in Australia on the streamers. And, we'll be back for round 2 with Friendo.
Yes, and just on the way out the door, I would just like to also give a shout out to the Underground Australia and Studio Canal because they were kind enough to supply some free passes for us to go and check out the film. So please make sure you check out the Underground Australia online. They've got lots of great content.
Yes, and if you did like this podcast, please make sure to like, follow, share, follow us on Facebook at Sinister Siblings.
Be our friendo.
Be our friendo on Facebook.
And don't forget to also give us a rating as well if you can. That always helps people find us.
Yes, thank you.
Be kind to each other and to us.
And to Friendo. So till next time.
So long, kiddies.